This week on Kamen Rider Over Demons. Hey guys, it's time for me to save the day. See, I've been training.
Where?
Behind the scenes.
Okay, bet. So what can you do now?
Kenjino Mix.
Okay, but so could I in my second Tenjin?
+1.
Oh, watch out, y'all. We got a badass over here.
Goofy Giffu has made his grand appearance, and just as I feared in multiple review speculations, he is all hand-waving and no head-turning. Main character Hikaru features the results of his status upgrade, and Milk with the Homies finally gets its sequel. Revice 43 brings down the high from the crescendo from last week, and takes it all the way back down to status quo. That's right, we are back at Kamen Rider Over Demons, episode 3.5. Giffu, now fully the bad guy, comes in with his hand-waving and CG legions of demons. What are our background characters to do in such a circumstance? Don't lose hope yet, it's main character Hikaru here to save the day. Dropping more bombs than the Nintendo Direct that I am still waiting for, Over Demon shows how OP he really is and clears a path for Amnesia and Sidekick to take everyone away. Oh, you thought Akaishi was dust? Nah, Giffu needs a minion that can actually turn their neck. So, he's back from the urn. Mama-san Yukimi, still sitting at the spa and not being a writer already, awaits for Genta's return. However, we get the all too familiar scene of him being at weekend just chilling. That's right, it's Itis with the OGs. The artist formerly known as Junpei featuring Veil. New album from Phoenix Records. Hey, I gotta make use of those assets, right? With all that's happened, the family is still not back together. But, for that reason, Yukimi is ready to throw down with some sukiyaki. What's sukiyaki? Don't ask Iki, he's already forgotten about it. Speaking of forgetting, Daiji has already lost sight of Genta's words last week and continues to see his own way through things. That's when the former king of L's himself, Hiromi, shows up to reaffirm that Daiji is the rightful owner of that crown. Owning up to his own L's, he tells Daiji that he can actually take his L's and change it from a loss to a learn, as dubs are deserved, but L's are earned. Ain't that right, Dub King Damp Hikaru? Oh, we'll get to you, you main character you. With this, Daiji reflects on the biggest L on his board yet. Back at weekend, Masumi isn't dead. He's just napping, as the Dub Squad reflects on just how big of a dad nap he's gonna take. Iki shows up invited by the masked man himself. He may not be dead, but it's because he's got some last-minute bombshells he's just gotta drop. See, as a result of his never-ending research, Masumi, of course, feels guilty for giving Genta some Giffu cells and for being the root cause of a lot of what is happening. But first and foremost, he has given George his own inner demon. You heard that right. The biggest plot twist, 7 episodes away from the finale, is that Masumi, while George was young, transplanted his inner demon into George. So, if anything were to happen to him, his will continue to be carried out. Honestly, this explains so much. George's early episodes and his change in attitudes for the sake of science, his kidly desire to keep changing into a Kamen Rider being distracted in order to get back to his science, the little crumbs that we've been fed regarding this man finally have an explanation. George, however, does not like this news and understandably storms out. Masumi's regrets find their way into main character Hikaru and revitalizes his continued growth to new heights. Given restored oversight by Giffu, Akaishi returns to Ararat to burn it all down to the ground. Giffu doesn't demand servitude anymore, he commands death, destroying the peaceful community that he built only to get met by almost every writer in the show. Akaishi is then given a repaint to his old form, sporting the Zio Agito approved red look. Because everything looks better in red. Even that, kind of. As Giffu dips out after passing all the work to Akaishi, Gifford Rex says nope and drags that thing down. The time for the major fights of this week's episode goes down. It's Akaishi versus his least favorite thing in the world, women. As his almost soy boy Hikaru charges up. See, Hikaru has been training, and now he is the bestest ever. He just needs the amount of time it takes Planet Namek to blow up in order to do it. And who's providing all that time? Well, Revice has been giving Goofy Giffu all of the Magnet State's energy, pushing him back to the Stone Ages multiple times through. However, main character's attention-seeking lures Iki away, leaving Vice to deal with the walking tombstone. With Akaishi distracted, Hikaru goes into full beast mode and shows why the show is even named after him, leaving himself moist after giving Akaishi the suck. Not to be replaced as main soy boy, Daiji is here, passing through the lack of barrier Hiromi and moving straight over to Akaishi, where he lands the final blow, sucking the life right out of this man. With him gone, it's time for Giffu to have a brand new hoe, and Daiji wants to be that hoe. Although there was a little bit too much Hikaru, and Genta got shelved yet again, this episode managed to answer a long-seen quirk of George, while also continuing to just hate on Daiji. But that haterade seems to be fueling a long-awaited return next week. So, with all those setups and revelations, this episode is getting the Agito. Actually, I've got a lot of negative space over here, so I'm going to do it over here. There's something that's going to be going over here later. That's the reason why I'm leaving it blank. Is getting the Agito A on the floor. The biggest chip on Daiji's shoulder has been the creepy old Akaishi, who's been stroking Daiji to be his replacement. Finally, with his mortality restored, it's Daiji that lands the final blow. However, we are kind of led to believe that Daiji learned nothing from Genta last week, when it's really the opposite. He's almost selfishly seeing Giffu as a means to his ends and restore his inner demons. After all, if there's anyone that can restore a demon, it's the source of it himself, right? Now, was this his plan the whole time? I don't think so. Really, Daiji felt directionless up until this episode. It took a lot of steering of the boat and a lot of false flags, but we might finally be losing that L crown next week. Next up, we get George. Finally, some more development regarding the best character and the most underutilized character in the show. Putting the pieces together, I feel that the Kamen Rider fanboy aspect of George is really the real him. This is his childhood aspect that he himself has not been able to shed as an adult. I mean, I guess I'm one to talk, and I guess a lot of you all are too. But then we have the prospect of Masumi's influence, led by his inner demon. Does that mean that George's brilliance up until now has been unrelated to his own? Also, I don't think so. But his character might see it that way. I'm still of the camp of, we need this man to be the fanboy and henshin once more. And with 7 episodes left, I desperately need to see it happen. Also, I guess that means that George has 2 inner demons inside of him. So, are we going to end up getting an internal fight between them, like Genta and Vale and the Iki and Vice? Yes, please, sign me up already. I'm also hoping that Genta does not stay shelved until the finale as well, since this kind of keeps happening with him. We get the super hype henshin and fight with the real daddy himself, only to be napping the rest of the time. Next week, new writer forms continue, even after the ultimate. This show just keeps breaking conventions. What are your thoughts on this week's Kamen Rider Overdemons? The massive character buildup of Hikaru, the George Daddy Demons, and Iki forgetting what he had for dinner last night. That's it for me. I will catch you all on the next one. Until then, I guess I gotta put something over in this space. Bye.